Welcome back to Cinema Recaps. Today, I'll introduce you to a historical, dramatic war film from 2001 titled Enemy at the Gates. Warning, there will be spoilers, so watch out and stay alert. In 1942, 1 year after Germany's invasion of the Soviet Union during World War II, Red Army soldier Vasily Tsaites is on a train to Stalingrad, thinking back to when his grandfather taught him to shoot while hunting. On the train with him are hundreds of other soldiers and civilians, including Tanya Chernova, who catches Vasily's eye, though he doesn't dare speak to her. The civilians disembark halfway, while the soldiers are brought straight to the middle of the Stalingrad battlefield. To reach the front lines, they board boats, and the enemy immediately attacks with bombs and gunfire. Many soldiers fall, and upon seeing this, several jump into the water to escape, only to be shot by their own officers for desertion. Upon reaching the docks, only every 2 soldiers are given a rifle, while the others receive bullets and are ordered to follow those with weapons. The entire group is forced into a suicidal charge that the Germans easily overpower. Vasily only has bullets and survives by lying flat on the ground and pretending to be dead. Once again, anyone attempting to flee is shot by their own side, deemed cowardly and traitorous. The area quickly fills with bodies, with no one left alive. A little later, a vehicle tries to cross the area but is hit and overturned. From inside, political commissar Danilov jumps out, hiding in a fountain and pretending to be dead. He miraculously avoids getting shot as a group of German soldiers passes by, firing at the bodies to ensure no survivors. When the Germans leave, Danilov picks up a rifle from one of the corpses and attempts to shoot a few soldiers he spots in a nearby building, but the gun is out of ammunition. At this point, Danilov realizes he isn't the only one alive in the fountain. Vasily is also hiding there. Danilov asks Vasily for the rifle so he can load it with the bullets he was given when he first arrived. Vasily advises him to wait for an explosion before firing to avoid detection. However, since Danilov is a political commissar with limited weapon experience, he decides to let Vasily take the rifle instead. When another vehicle carrying soldiers arrived, Vasily moved behind a hole in the wall near the fountain, and as soon as he heard an explosion, he began shooting each German soldier in the head with absolute precision. A few hours later, after being rescued and brought back to headquarters, Danilov printed a series of leaflets detailing Vasily's heroic achievements. Several days later, Chairman Nikita Khrushchev arrived in Stalingrad to oversee the city's defense, as Stalingrad was a symbol of Stalin's power, and they could not afford to lose it. Angry after hearing of yet another defeat, he demanded ideas from his subordinates to boost soldier morale, but most officers merely repeated the ineffective tactics they had used for years. However, Danilov proposed a different approach. He believed that instead of punishment, they needed to bring hope, to create a hero who would inspire everyone to defend the motherland, and he had the perfect person for that role. Danilov's idea was approved, and he was promoted to senior lieutenant. Vasily's image now appeared in newspapers, presented as a role model to follow. Vasily was also promoted, joining the sniper force. From then on, he became a symbol of the Russian army, both a national hero and a propaganda icon, with his achievements featured in every military newspaper and on posters plastered throughout the country. On a mission, Vasily and his team met a boy named Sasha Filippov, who greatly admired him. Sasha invited Vasily to his home, where his mother, Mrs. Filippov, prepared dinner to thank him for what he had done for their homeland. Shortly after, Danilov arrived as well, bringing letters from Vasily's fans from all over the country. To sustain the plan of spreading hope and propaganda, Danilov made Vasily respond to all the letters, though Danilov himself suggested replies and helped him with spelling. Another person appeared as they began writing letters. Tanya, the girl from the train, who was like a sister to Sasha and was now a private in the local militia. She spoke fluent German, having studied it in college. Danilov wanted to recruit her since they needed more people who understood German, but Tanya wanted to stay and fight alongside the local militia, especially since they were short on personnel. She changed her mind when Danilov explained how much she could help by decoding German intelligence and promised to send 12 soldiers to support each person fluent in German. Meanwhile, the German army began to suffer heavy losses caused by Vasily and his sniper team. As a result, they summoned Major Erwin König, a renowned marksman and head of the German army's sniper school in Sausen. He was assigned the mission to eliminate Vasily and devised a plan to make Vasily come to him, rather than the other way around. A few hours later, Vasily was awakened from a short nap by his comrades due to trouble at the department store area. Vasily fired at a figure in the window and saw a hat fall, thinking he had hit the target, so he took Lumela with him to find the body. However, the comrade who stayed behind was shot as soon as they left. As the pair entered the store, they stealthily moved toward the window and discovered that the figure they had seen was merely a mannequin set up to look like a sniper. It was clearly a trap. When Vasily found a cigarette butt on the ground, he realized the enemy was still watching them. Vasily thought they should stay cautious and hide until they could figure out an escape plan. But as planes began to arrive and bomb the area, Lumela panicked and ran, creating the perfect opportunity for Koenig to take her down. However, Vasily managed to escape before Koenig could do the same to him. Koenig returned to his hideout, where Sasha, a boy pretending to be a harmless civilian, polished his shoes. Sasha was feeding information about Vasily to Koenig in exchange for food, gaining the Major's trust and leading him to reveal his own position. When the Red Army learned the Germans were using Koenig, they sent Kulikov, a former student of Koenig's, to teach Vasily how Koenig thinks and help him eliminate him. Before returning to the battlefield, Vasily had to attend a special banquet held in his honor. After greeting Tanya, Vasily was pulled by Khrushchev to meet with reporters, answer questions, take photos, and admire a giant portrait of Stalin, as Khrushchev explained that Stalin was always watching over his country. Looking at the portrait reminded Vasily of the day his grandfather taught him to shoot. He missed the first shot, allowing the wolf to approach and devour the horse. A few days later, Vasily, Kulikov, and another member of the sniper team, Volodya, entered an abandoned building where Koenig was believed to be hiding. They moved stealthily and discovered a corpse posed in a shooting position, set up similarly to the previous trap, meaning they were on the right track. After crossing an open area and luckily dodging all enemy bullets, they took down 2 repair soldiers. Before dinner, Volodya left his teammates briefly to fetch the soup heating in another room, but he was captured along the way. Koenig and his team attempted to force Volodya to reveal Vasily's hiding spot, but since he refused to talk, they posed as repair soldiers to escort him out, unaware of who he actually was. Not realizing it was Volodya, Kulikov immediately shot him, intentionally revealing their position to provoke the enemy into shooting at the hat in the window, hoping Koenig would reveal his own position. However, Koenig didn't fall for the trap, so the duo decided to relocate. As they jumped over an open section of the floor, Koenig seized the opportunity to shoot Kulikov, while Vasily managed to escape safely. The relentless pursuit between Vasily and Koenig dragged on for too long, causing Khrushchev to lose patience and put pressure on Danilov. After the meeting, Danilov went to see Tanya, bringing her a gift and trying to get closer to her, but he was taken aback when she requested a transfer. A few hours later, Vasily returned to headquarters in low spirits, having never encountered a shot like he did today and thinking that Koenig might be too skilled for him to defeat. Danilov reassured him that they were gathering more intelligence and promised that next time, Vasily would be 1 or more steps ahead of Koenig. However, he asked him to do one thing: talk to Tanya to convince her not to request a transfer. When Vasily tried to persuade her, Tanya explained that she wanted to transfer because she had learned that morning that her parents were among the prisoners executed by the Germans and she wanted to go there to fight. Understanding her desire for revenge, Vasily handed her Kulikov's rifle. After Sasha shared information with both of them, Koenig and Vasily each arrived at the same abandoned building, both thinking they would surprise the other. While Koenig waited on a high platform, Vasily and his comrade hid behind some pipes, but the vibrations from them gave away their position to Koenig. As the pair tried to move, Koenig fired, causing Vasily to lose his rifle and injuring his comrade. Vasily sent his comrade back to headquarters since he couldn't continue in that condition, while he tried to retrieve his rifle by tying a rope to a knife and throwing it to pull the gun toward him. But just as he finally succeeded, Koenig easily shot through the rope. When several German planes flew overhead and dropped bombs, the ceiling glass shattered, and some fragments fell in front of Vasily, giving Koenig a clear view of his face. At headquarters, Danilov tried to convince Tanya not to go into combat, arguing that her skills were more valuable in intelligence work. Their discussion was interrupted when the sniper returned and recounted what had happened. Tanya didn't hesitate to cross the pipes to go help, but as soon as he saw her, Vasily told her to stay put and follow his plan. Koenig had been watching Vasily through a piece of glass, but Vasily also used a shard to track him, allowing him to pinpoint Koenig's position. He instructed Tanya to take another piece of glass and angle it until the reflected light blinded Koenig, creating an opportunity for Vasily to retrieve his rifle and shoot him. Although he didn't kill Koenig, he injured his hand. Later, when Vasily and Tanya returned to headquarters, they celebrated surviving with the other soldiers and then slipped under a blanket in the communal sleeping quarters to make love. The next morning, Vasily asked Danilov to stop writing about him. He didn't want to bear this additional pressure, and just wanted to fight as a regular soldier. Danilov refused and even brought Sasha in to see Vasily. The boy proudly shared that he had obtained information from Koenig. Seeing Sasha's hopeful expression, Vasily couldn't refuse and agreed to let him lead him to the spot where Koenig would be waiting. The ground was strewn with corpses, and Vasily hid among them, patiently waiting for Koenig to appear. However, after waiting too long, he drifted off to sleep. When Koenig finally spotted him from his hiding place, he prepared to shoot, but another soldier unexpectedly came between them, assuming Vasily was dead and rummaging through his belongings. The German army captured this soldier and discovered he had taken Vasily's identification card, leading them to believe Vasily was dead. Koenig didn't believe it, but was still ordered to leave, although he suspected Vasily might still be alive. He met with Sasha again and, doubting the situation, revealed his next location to the boy. At Russian headquarters, Khrushchev heard the news that the Germans were spreading word of Vasily's death and became furious with Danilov, who didn't believe it was true. Khrushchev didn't care whether the news was true or not. He wanted Danilov to use his writing skills to reassure the public that everything was fine. Later, Danilov tried to talk to Tanya about her possibly coming to his home, but their conversation was interrupted when the loudspeakers began announcing Vasily's death. Danilov prepared to write an obituary for Vasily as a hero, but just then, Vasily himself returned. He explained that he had missed the chance to shoot because he fell asleep and then had to hide to evade someone hunting him. Danilov agreed to relocate him. Afterward, Vasily asked about Tanya, and Sasha revealed that he knew Vasily was alive and had informed her, prompting her to go to the train station to find Koenig and seek revenge. Danilov and Vasily hurried to the train station to rescue Tanya, and upon finding her, Vasily and Tanya kissed, making Danilov intensely jealous. Upon returning to headquarters, instead of writing a report on Vasily's heroism, Danilov announced to the world that Vasily had become a traitor. What they didn't know was that Koenig had seen them at the train station and now knew for certain that Sasha was the one providing information. He captured the boy and hung him from a pole to lure Vasily out. Seeing Sasha's body, Tanya almost chased after Koenig for revenge, but Vasily stopped her, warning that it was Koenig's trap. They agreed on a plan. While Vasily hunted for Koenig, Tanya sought Danilov's help, and together they went to Mrs. Filippov to take her out of the country, using special travel papers that Danilov had obtained. Mrs. Filippov didn't want to leave without Sasha, but instead of telling her the truth about his death, they told her that he had joined the Germans to stay safe. Mrs. Filippov didn't hold any grudge and agreed to leave. On the way to the boat, a bomb exploded nearby, injuring Tanya. Danilov thought she was dead and left, but Mrs. Filippov didn't give up. She persuaded the doctor to allow Tanya onto the boat by using the special travel papers and claiming Tanya was her daughter. Meanwhile, Vasily and Koenig were locked in a standoff in their respective hiding spots, each unaware of the other's exact position. Suddenly, Danilov appeared beside Vasily. With Tanya now gone, he felt he had nothing left to live for and believed humanity was no longer worth saving. To atone for the lies he had spread about Vasily, he sacrificed himself, stepping out of hiding so Koenig would shoot him, thereby revealing his position. Vasily thought carefully and didn't react immediately, leading Koenig to believe he had killed Vasily. Koenig stepped out to check, and Vasily was waiting for him. As Vasily aimed his rifle at Koenig, the major removed his hat, accepting his fate. After taking down Koenig, Vasily took his rifle and placed it next to Danilov's body. 2 months later, when the Germans surrendered, Vasily received a letter from Tanya, informing him that she was alive and being cared for in a field hospital. When the city was safe to travel, Vasily went to the address in the letter, and the two happily reunited. Please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to watch more videos like this. Thank you for watching.